You wake up, you check your bank app. The number you see is comforting. It looks the same as it did yesterday, last week, last month. You feel a sense of security. That safety is an illusion. The number doesn't change, but the money's real power is slipping away. This is the hard truth millions miss every day. A traditional savings account's primary job isn't to grow your money. Its job is to hold it. Just holding can be one of the most expensive financial decisions today. We were taught saving is a virtue. Put a portion of your paycheck aside. Let it build up. You will be secure. That advice isn't wrong, just incomplete. It misses a crucial detail about the modern financial system. Money isn't just a number. It's a tool to buy things. Its value isn't fixed. It changes with the world. Your savings acts like a leaky bucket. You pour money in, a small invisible hole lets purchasing power drain out, day after day, year after year. The bank isn't your financial partner how you might think. It's a business, a very profitable business. What exactly is this invisible force that drains your savings? It is called inflation. In the simplest terms, inflation is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising, and subsequently, purchasing power is falling. You instinctively know these things cost more today than they did 10 or 20 years ago. That is inflation in action. Each dollar buys a slightly smaller quantity than before. The problem arises when your savings doesn't grow at least as fast as inflation. If your account pays 0.1% for the year, but the cost of living goes up 3%, you have not broken even. You have effectively lost 2.9% of your purchasing power. Your statement shows the same principle plus pennies, but it won't go as far. This is how you can lose money while technically saving it. Here is a shocking fact. Many large U.S. banks offer standard savings with an APY of 0.01% to 0.1%. During that same time, inflation has historically averaged around 2% to 4% per year. In stress years, it surged to 7%, 8%, even 9%. Let's do the simple math. $10,000 at 0.1% earns $10. If inflation is 3%, you need $2,300 to buy the same things. You gained $10, lost $300 in buying power. This slow erosion is devastating over time, like walking up a downward escalator. Over the last 2 decades, the real return on average savings was negative for most years. To understand why your savings pays so little, you need to understand the bank's business model. It is elegantly simple and highly effective. When you deposit into a savings account, you're not just storing it. You are, in effect, giving the bank a low-cost loan. The bank pools deposits and lends them out at higher rates. This is the core of banking. You deposit $1,000. The bank pays 0.1%, $1 per year. They lend that $1,000 at 6%, 7%, even 8%. From those loans, they might earn $60, $70, or $80. It pays you $1 and keeps the remaining $59, $79 as gross profit. That gap is the net interest margin, the primary revenue source. Your low-interest savings is the foundation of this enterprise. The cheaper deposits are, the wider the profit margin. Big branch banks have little incentive to offer more. Convenience and brand keep customers. Most people won't switch for a slight bump. Shocking stat, U.S. bank deposits exceed $17 trillion. Even a small margin on that generates hundreds of billions in profit. You are an investor in the bank's success, but you aren't compensated like one. If the traditional savings account is a leaky bucket, a high-yield savings account is a bucket with a much smaller leak. It is a simple but important upgrade. HISA is functionally identical. Your money is safe, insured by the government up to a limit, and easily accessible. The key difference, it pays a much higher yield. Big brick and mortar, 0.1%. HISA examples, 3%, 4%, even 5%. Rates vary. Why can they offer more? Lower overhead, no branches, lean digital ops. They pass those savings to you. On $10,000, traditional at 0.1% earns $10, HISA at 4.5% earns $450. Difference, $440. With 3% inflation, traditional leaves a real loss of $290, HISA leaves a real gain of $150. Great for emergency funds, short-term goals, and down payments. But rates are variable and follow central bank moves, not a long-term growth engine. Think of HISAs as a powerful defensive tool, not your main offensive one. It's the first step to make your money work for you, not just for the bank. Sitting between a traditional savings and a checking account, the money market account, or MMA. Think of it as a flexible hybrid. Like a HISA, an MMA typically offers a more competitive rate than standard savings. Banks invest MMA funds in very safe, short-term, liquid securities, government bonds and CDs, sharing part of that return with you. MMAs often include check writing and a debit card. Easier access without first transferring to checking. That convenience makes MMA strong for emergency funds. But strings may apply. Higher minimum balances to avoid fees or keep better rates. Like HISAs, MMA rates are variable and won't always beat inflation. Choose based on liquidity needs. HISA for top rate on rarely touched cash. MMA for direct check, debit access. Either is a massive improvement over standard savings that loses value. Small switch, big impact. Once you've secured your emergency fund in a high-yield account, think about money you won't need for 6 months to a few years. A superior option for this purpose is a U.S. Treasury bill, T-bill. A T-bill is a short-term loan to the U.S. government. You're paid back full amount plus interest after 4, 8, 13, or 26 weeks. They're backed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government, which can tax and print money. They're considered virtually risk-free, ideal for cash you cannot afford to lose. Often they pay more than banks. T-bill rates are set via auction and generally follow the federal funds rate. When rates rise to fight inflation, T-bill yields can become very attractive. They often surpass even the best HISAs. And T-bill interest is exempt from state and local income taxes, boosting your net return, especially in high-tax states. Buying is easy. No special broker. Use Treasury Direct, link your bank, choose a term, invest. On maturity, funds auto-deposit back to your account. For goals a year out, like a wedding or renovation, T-bills combine safety, competitive returns, and tax perks a savings account can't match. For money you won't need for 5 years or more, long-term goals like retirement, you must shift from saving to investing. Harness compounding through broad, low-cost index funds. An index fund is a mutual fund, or ETF, that tracks a market index, like the S&P 500. It represents hundreds of leading companies across the U.S. economy. Instead of picking winners, you own a tiny piece of many companies. If a few lag, the impact is small. Diversification reduces single stock risk. Historically, the U.S. stock market returned about 7 to 10% annually over long periods, including dividends, well above inflation, savings, or T-bills. Of course, higher return potential comes with higher risk. Markets are volatile, good years and bad years. You can lose value over 1 to 2 years. That's why index funds are for long-term money. Give them 5+ years to recover and ride the market's upward trend. For long-term goals, the bigger risk isn't volatility. It's failing to grow fast enough to beat inflation. Compounded over decades, modest contributions can become a substantial nest egg. This is the engine of wealth creation. You now understand the problem. Your money is losing value in a standard savings account. You also know the solutions, from better savings vehicles to powerful long-term investments. Knowledge is the first step, but it is action that builds wealth. Move from passive saving to active ownership of your financial future. Don't let your money silently shrink. Banks will always profit from deposits. That's the system. But you can choose what benefits you more than them. Here is your clear 4-step action plan. Build emergency fund. Plan medium-term goals. Invest for long-term. Automate and review. Calculate 3 to 6 months of expenses. Move that amount to a HISA or MMA. This single move could increase your return by 40-50x. For 36 months, consider T-bills. For 5+ years, open a low-cost brokerage and buy a broad index fund. Automate monthly, dollar cost average. Starting now versus a year later can mean tens of thousands over time. If you want more clear guides to protect and grow your money, subscribe now. Your future self will thank you.